The life of Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov was a prominent Russian composer of the late 19th and early 20th century. He was one of the leading figures of the Russian Five, also known as the Mighty Handful, a group of composers who sought to establish a distinct Russian musical identity. Rimsky-Korsakov's musical style was deeply influenced by Russian folklore and Orientalism, resulting in a unique blend of nationalistic and exotic elements in his compositions. Born in 1844 in Tikhvin, a small town in the Novgorod province, Rimsky-Korsakov grew up in a family of military officers. His father, Andrei Rimsky-Korsakov, was a nobleman and a military officer who had a great passion for music. Despite his military career, Andrei was an accomplished pianist and enjoyed playing for his family and friends. It was this love for music that he passed on to his son Nikolai, who showed a natural talent for music from a young age. At the age of 10, Rimsky-Korsakov started taking piano lessons from his mother. However, it was not until he turned 12 that he received formal musical training. In 1856, he was accepted into the prestigious Naval Cadet Corps in St. Petersburg, where he received a well-rounded education, including music lessons from a renowned Italian composer, Antonio Banti. Banti recognized the young Rimsky-Korsakov's exceptional talent and encouraged him to pursue a career in music. Under Balakirev's guidance, Rimsky-Korsakov started to explore Russian folk music and Orientalism, which would become a defining characteristic of his compositions. He also became interested in the works of Russian writers, such as Nikolai Gogol and Alexander Pushkin, and began to incorporate elements of their stories and poems into his music. After graduating from the Naval Cadet Corps in 1862, Rimsky-Korsakov joined the Russian Navy as an officer. However, his passion for music never waned, and he continued to compose music in his spare time. In 1865, he met the influential composer Nikolai Balakirev, who would later become his mentor and a close friend. Balakirev introduced Rimsky-Korsakov to other members of the Russian Five, including Modest Petrovich Mussorgsky and Cesar Sui, who shared his passion for creating a distinctly Russian style of music. In 1867, Rimsky-Korsakov resigned from the Navy in order to focus on his musical career. He started working as a professor at the St. Petersburg Conservatory, where he taught harmony and orchestration. He also continued to compose and became increasingly recognized for his unique style. His first major success came with the opera The Snow Maiden in 1882, which was based on a Russian fairy tale. The opera was well received, and it established Rimsky-Korsakov as a leading figure in the Russian music scene. Throughout his career, Rimsky-Korsakov composed a wide range of works, including operas, symphonies, chamber music, and orchestral pieces. He was particularly known for his skill in orchestration, and his pieces were often praised for their rich and colorful sound. Some of his most famous works include Scheherazade, a symphonic suite inspired by the tales of 1001 Nights, and Capricio Español, which incorporates Spanish folk melodies. While Rimsky-Korsakov's music was deeply rooted in Russian culture, he also drew inspiration from other cultures. His interest in Orientalism can be seen in works such as Sadko, an opera based on a Russian epic poem, and Russian Easter Festival Overture, which incorporates elements of Russian Orthodox liturgical music. Aside from his own compositions, Rimsky-Korsakov also played a significant role in promoting the works of his fellow Russian composers. He edited and revised Mussorgsky's opera Boris Godunov and finished Mussorgsky's unfinished opera Kovanshchina after the composer's death. Rimsky-Korsakov also mentored other composers, including Igor Stravinsky, who would go on to become one of the most influential composers of the 20th century. Rimsky-Korsakov's contributions to the Russian music scene were not limited to his own compositions. He also played a crucial role in developing music education in Russia. He established a new system of teaching music theory and composition at the St. Petersburg Conservatory, which was later adopted by other music schools across the country. Unfortunately, Rimsky-Korsakov's life and career were cut short by his untimely death in 1908 at the age of 64. However, his legacy continued to live on through his music and the generations of composers he influenced. His works have become an integral part of the Russian classical music repertoire, and his influence can still be heard in the works of modern composers. In conclusion, Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov was a Russian composer who played a significant role in shaping the country's musical identity. His unique blend of Russian folk music and Orientalism, along with his skill in orchestration, made him one of the most celebrated composers of his time. His contributions to music education and his influence on other composers have solidified his place in the history of Russian classical music, making him a true musical legend.